Have you ever had a killer idea for a web app, but then you get totally stuck in all the setup? Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to talk about Django. It's a Python framework that's designed to get you from an idea to a full-blown launch, and it does it ridiculously fast. So you know the feeling, right? You've got this amazing idea, you open up your editor, and you're just staring at a blank screen. And then it hits you. You have to set up a database, figure out how user logins are going to work, secure all your forms, and somehow structure this entire project. Honestly, it can be totally overwhelming.
But what if you didn't have to reinvent the wheel every single time? What if all that complicated, heavy lifting was already done for you? Well, that is the entire promise of a web framework. It is absolutely a smarter, faster way to build.
So let's really get into the why of Django. Its whole philosophy is built around one single idea: helping you build better web apps faster. It's all about getting from your concept to the finish line without getting tangled up in all the boring, repetitive parts of development. So what is Django really? Well, yeah, it's a high-level Python web framework, but the phrase you really want to remember is batteries included. Think of it like this. Instead of just giving you a box of parts and saying, good luck, Django gives you a fully stocked workshop. It comes with things like a pre-built admin panel, a secure user login system, and a really elegant way to talk to your database, all ready to go right out of the box. It's powerful enough to run massive sites, but it's still simple enough for your very first project. Okay, so to really get why Django is so powerful, you've got to understand its architecture. It uses a pattern called MVT, which stands for Model View Template. Now, I know that sounds like a bunch of jargon, but stick with me because it's a brilliant way to keep your code organized and prevent it from becoming a total mess as your project gets bigger. First up, we have the model. The model is basically the blueprint for your data. So for example, if you're building a blog, your model would define what a post is. You'd say, okay, a post has a title, it's got some content, and a publication date. The best part? You write this in simple Python code, and Django automatically handles creating all the actual database tables for you. It's kind of magical. Next is the view. I always like to think of the view as the application's brain. This is where all the real thinking happens. When a user clicks a link or submits a form, the view is what kicks into gear. It's responsible for grabbing the right data from the model and then deciding what to do with it before sending it on. And finally, we have the template. This is the face of your application. It's what the user actually sees in their browser. The view's job is to pass the data over to the template, and the template's job is to make it look good and render the final web page. This separation is fantastic because it keeps the logic of how your site looks separate from how it works. All right, that's enough theory. Let's see what this actually looks like. We're going to go from absolutely nothing to a running Hello World project, and you'll see just how fast this whole process is. It really is this simple, seriously. First, you use pip to install Django itself. Then, you run a single command, startproject, and it creates the entire project structure for you. After that, you create an app, which is just a component of your site, like a blog. And with one last command, runserver, boom, your development site is live on your computer. That's it. And what about the code? Well, it's just clean, simple Python. This little function right here, this is our view from that MVT pattern we just talked about. All it does is take in a user's web request and then return a super basic response. In this case, just the text, hello from Django. But you might be wondering, how does Django know to run our hello function when someone visits the site? That is the job of this file, urls.py. You can think of it like a switchboard or a traffic cop for your website. We're creating a simple rule here that says, hey, if a request comes in for the main homepage, just send it over to that hello view we just wrote. It's that straightforward. That incredible speed you just saw is all thanks to that batteries included philosophy. So let's open up the docs and take a closer look at some of the built-in superpowers you get with Django, completely free. These are the real game changers. You get an automatic admin interface, which is amazing for managing your site's data without writing any front-end code. Its ORM lets you talk to your database using pure Python instead of raw SQL. User login, signups, permissions, that's all handled by its built-in authentication system, and it automatically protects you from common web attacks. I mean, each of these features could be a massive project all on its own. So, with all these amazing features, you might think Django is always the right choice. But is it? Well, not necessarily. Like any tool, it's perfect for certain jobs. So let's talk about when you should reach for it and when you might want to consider something else. Look, Django is an absolute powerhouse for building full-featured web applications, complex admin dashboards, or really any project where you need to move fast and have a ton of functionality. But if all you're building is a tiny single-purpose API or a simple microservice, Django might be overkill. It's kind of like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. A smaller, more lightweight framework might be a better fit in those cases. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground pretty quickly here, so let's bring it all home and recap the most important things you need to remember about Django. If you take away just 4 things, make it these. First, that MVT pattern is your secret weapon for keeping your code clean and organized. Second, you can get a project up and running in literally minutes. Third, that batteries included approach saves you a ton of time and helps keep your site secure from day one. And finally, when you get stuck, its documentation is absolutely world-class. So now that you've seen just how quickly you can get a real project off the ground, the only real question left is, what are you going to build first? Your journey really begins at the official documentation. Seriously, it has fantastic tutorials that will guide you the rest of the way. So check it out. Happy building!